starting from tonight, Thursday night, and being extended until Shabbat Kodesh. Like we mentioned before, Shabbat, we have three parashiot. We have the parasha of the week, we have Rosh Chodesh, and we have Parashat Shekeli. Now, I want to share with you something that I think I was touched on a little bit. You know, there is a rabbi in Eretz Israel very much into kiruv, very much into bringing our brothers and sisters closer to Kadosh Baruch. And he said that he was in a flight, and in that flight, he sees a friend of him from the yeshiva. We're talking maybe 30 years ago. He sees his friends from yeshiva, or more, 40 years ago. And he realized that his friend not only doesn't have any kippah in his head, when he starts talking to him, you realize that he's completely against Yahadut. So he tells him what happened. What happened? So he told him the whole story. He told him a little bit after the yeshiva, he left the yeshiva, and he doesn't believe in Hashem, Shalom, and doesn't fulfill any mitzvot, and he's against it. Okay. Rabotai, the rabbi tells him, so the guy tells the rabbi, just do me a favor, we have a long flight. Don't convince me about anything. Okay? I'm not open for that. Don't try to convince me. I have it clear. I'm not going to get convinced anyways, but it bothers me. So the rabbi tells him, listen, I'm not going to bother you, don't worry. But a story, can I tell you a story? It's a story, it's fine. I don't think I'm going to change my life because of a story. Go ahead. So he tells him, there was, many years ago, a great rabbi by name Rav Aryeh Levine. Rav Aryeh Levine, there is a Sefer that a certain Jew, Yehudi, last name Raz, I believe it is, took out about this unbelievable person. So the author of that book says that he was once in a certain type of meeting in between friends. In that meeting, there were generals of the army. He found himself being the only guy with a kippah in his head, not the rabbi, the author of the book. And unfortunately, the non-religious generals, they started to pinch him here, pinch him there. Okay. At the end of the event, towards the end of the event, this Raz says to the general, I want to ask you a question. You're a general in the army, in the IDF. Before you go to war, you go to war spontaneously, or you have a plan? What's the question? Of course, without a plan, you don't even start a war. Not only one plan, you have to have a number of plans. If plan A didn't work, so you have plan B. If plan B didn't work, you got to have at least 3 to 4 plans, and then above that, you have to have an emergency plan in case that everything about Minan goes terrible. So this fellow, this Mr. Raz, says to the general, so I'm surprised. You're telling me that to go to war, it's important to have plans. Why? Pikuach nefesh, danger of life. Why you don't have a plan about your life? Maybe all you plan that you don't believe in God and you don't believe in Olam Haba, it's fake, was a mistake. And after you're 120, you will realize that it was true. What's your plan? You gotta have a plan. So the general says to this fellow Raz, he tells him, Habibi, he laughs. And he says, when you go to war, you have plans because you have chances that you're going to win the war. I know 100% that there is no Olam Haba. So there is not even a need. And I'm so sure that here, he took out a paper and he wrote down, I'm giving my Olam Haba to you, Raz, so and so. Okay? If there is such a thing, it's for you. This guy, Raz, took the paper, he put it in a certain drawer, and he forgot about it. Rabutai, 2 days later, the son of the general knocks at the door of this Yehudi and tells him, please, my father is asking the paper back. So Mr. Raz tells the boy, Habibi, gifts, you don't ask back. You don't ask back a gift. You gave it, it's mine. I'm not interested in giving it back. Okay, the kid left. 2 days later, he came back. Same request, different tune. My father said that you better bring back that paper. Don't mess with him. So Mr. Ras tells the son, go tell your dad that I understand why he talks like that, because he's a general and he's used to give orders. But I'm not a soldier, and I'm not planning right now to give the paper. I have to think about it. He left, and the kid came back 2 days later, and he tells Mr. Raz, and he tells Mr. Raz, my father said that you're right. I'm not your general, and therefore I please beg you to please bring back the paper. Rabutai, says this rabbi in the flight to his friend. He says, I believe that if generals in the IDF, they understand that they might have a plan B, I'm asking you, do you have any plan B? It was quiet. And then the guy tells the rabbi at the end of the flight, just in case, give me your phone number if one day I would like to get a plan B. Fast forward, he said it years later, the rabbi recently, this past month, he was giving a class in an organization called Arachim. And suddenly, in the seminary called Arachim, suddenly he sees this friend of him. So they hug each other. After the shiur, they went and they spoke a little bit. And after the whole seminary, the guy tells the rabbi, Rabbi, I'm not going to lie to you. I was surprised of what happened today. The information that I got in this seminary made me think a lot. Let me ask you, how come? Why this happens? Why can a person that is sure about his way can suddenly get open to hear a different... So the rabbi said, the answer is in this week's parasha. This week's parasha, the Torah says, "Ve'asu li mikdash v'shachanti betocham." What Olam is asking to do, a place for him to be there. I heard, by the way, something beautiful. Why it says, right? It says at the beginning of the parasha, "Ve'ikhu li teruma." Take for me donations to build up the Mishkan. So all the Mefashim are saying the words veikhu doesn't go well. It should be veitnu, not veikhu. Many explanations, but one of the explanations that I just remember now is that veikhu is because when you build the Mishkan, you're actually taking. Because there is no better thing that can happen to a person than to have the presence of Hashem with him. When you have the presence of Hashem with you, so Borei Olam is only going to give you. And therefore you became a recipient. So you think you're donating, but actually what's happening is you're getting. But my dear friends, says the Al-Shich HaKadosh, listen to this, unbelievable. It says the Al-Shich HaKadosh, What's the idea of ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם? Says the Al-Sheikh that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created something that it's called a mikdash betocham, a place that it's built inside every single Jew, that has a potential to have Borei Olam inside. And therefore, Borei Olam wakes up that room, that place that each one of us have inside our heart. He wakes it up in different ways. For what? Because Borei Olam wants to put his Shekhinah inside us. So whenever a Jew leads a certain type of lifestyle, he will always find himself in those moments that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is knocking at that room, at the door of that room. He's saying, Tzaddik, open up the door. Open up the door that it's called the Mishkan. Open up the door that it's called the Mikdash that I built inside you. So the rabbi ended up by something. I don't have too much of a time, but it says something, and I was very touched. That's why I'm sharing it with you. I don't know if you guys are following the news now in Israel. Yesterday or 2 days ago, there was a whole balagan in a couple of schools. The principals forbid the students put on tefillin. Made them not to put on tefillin. They took away the tefillin from them. But Rabotai, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? That the result that was made out of that is that hundreds, if not thousands of students, to protest against that, they started to put on tefillin. With the tefillin, they started to put on tefillin and to encourage the boys that are putting on tefillin. And you see, all this is a way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is knocking at the door again of Am Yisrael, and he's telling us, open the door, I want to put my Shekhinah inside you. Borei Olam has many ways. You know what this guy that I told you, when he came to the seminary, he said, I came to the seminary, it made me think a lot. When I saw all the hostages coming back, and each one of them, even people that they were completely off Judaism, they realized inside Gaza they found that the emunah is the only thing that maintains them alive. We don't have to wait until Gaza will take us. Let's bring the Shekhinah inside our lives, because there is a special room prepared already from advance that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to put it, is Shekhinah inside us. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen ve'Amen. רבי יחנניה בן הגשם אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את ישראל, לפיכך, הלווה להם תורה מצוות